Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 17th, about 6 a.m. Central Time. Overnight, the precious metals are mixed. We've got gold down about $6, but anchored right at 2,400, while silver futures are slightly higher, up about 20 cents. Now, yesterday we witnessed how important China is to the industrial metals, specifically silver and also copper. This is evidence in the gold-silver ratio, which trended back up to about 85 to 1. Now, with silver up about 20 cents, gold down about $6 overnight, we're seeing that ratio come back down to about 84 to 1. I really like to keep ratios under key commodities that I'm looking at, whether you're looking at Bitcoin versus Ethereum, soybeans versus corn, the S&P 500 versus the NASDAQ, or gold versus silver. You want to look at the ratio because it allows you to do a little bit of detective work and see which asset classes specifically traders are positioning for or chasing, because price momentum plays a key role here on whether or not a sustainable bull market is intact. Now, what was really impressive about the gold market was that gold held on to 2,400 and had these green shoots throughout the session, despite the dollar index being firmly over 106 and treasury yields continuing to rise. Now, I suspect that another headwind for silver yesterday was the jump in the Peruvian copper production. Now, you got to hear me out, because how do we go from silver prices lagging to Peruvian copper production? When analyzing silver production, you have to remember that 27% of mining is specifically for silver. The other 73% of silver production is a byproduct of copper. Now, where does Peru rank in silver production? Well, you've got Mexico as the number one silver producer, China number two, Peru is number three. What's interesting is that Chile is number four. So Chile's the number one producer of copper. So when you see a jump in copper production out of one of those four key countries, you have to know that silver production is also going to jump a bit. And what was the other thing that you had to analyze yesterday was the Chinese economic data that came out. Now, I would have suspected that an uptick in GDP out of China would have offset the weakness in industrial production. Remember, China is the largest consumer of copper and also silver. So you need that jump up in industrial production in China in order to get this sustainable bull market in the silver and in the copper market. Now, a lot of this commodities is just doing detective work. Remember, there's three things again. You got the supply side, you have the demand side, and you have the price momentum. If supplies of silver jumped yesterday and demand of silver from China had come down just a bit, the price momentum might die out a touch. And I believe that's what happened here. So you want to really keep an eye on these things. If you're going to take this seriously, you can't just say that, hey, silver's this ultimate asset and it's this undervalued, monetary asset class. You really want to look at this thing from a economic standpoint and say, hey, what is going to make silver really go? And you need to have those three things. You need to have silver production strained, you need to have China rocking and rolling over there, and then you need to be breaking continuously through these key levels, 29 and 30, 35, 40, 50, etc. My price target on silver, I really believe we'll see 35 to 1 and 40 to 1 here towards the end of the year, especially if the gold market continues to go. What needs to happen is that gold silver ratio needs to become so far wide here where people go back into the silver market thinking that it's a dramatically undervalued asset class. So we like to see gold futures continue to challenge and break through these key levels while a lot of these geopolitical events are happening in the background, and that's where silver will end up playing catch up. Now, I think that yesterday was just a one-off fluke, but you got to dive in and kind of understand and not just throw because the price isn't going your direction that are the manipulators out there, the short sellers, blah, blah, blah. You really want to look at this rational from a paper standpoint. Look at it like you're an economist on these specific asset classes. So looking at the market here today, not a lot on the board, and I like to take those days where there's not a lot on the board to review and reflect what happened in the day before. Now, silver futures 28.50 starting to move back up. We've got to get back through the 29 level, and then I think we'll challenge 29.90, and then we get through $30. It's game on again. But that one hiccup that we had yesterday, I definitely like to review and reflect. So if you got any questions on Futures option trading, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures and option trading involves risk of loss, may not be suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.